Hello there and welcome back to Marcelian&Flame. Today we have a question for you. Is it time to change your main? Not now, but for 11.1.
For 11.1. We're definitely thinking about it, and there are a couple of things and reasons and stuff that we're looking at because shit has been happening to a lot of the specs that we are not maining, and we're like, that looks kind of nice.
This is a very, let's say, early thought on how and why we would change our mains for 11.1. I am thinking about, oh boy, playing my rogue again.
Oh, damn. That's not what...
Yeah, nobody believed that, but listen. Like, you cannot really tell me you don't miss that bombastic, high-octane outlaw gameplay. Now, they have a lot of issues, they have problems and all that, but once you get into that spec, at one point in your life, you always want to come back to it. And I miss it so bad. I miss it so bad.
I mean, I was thinking of Rogue. Outlaw would not be my first choice, though.
Why?
Because assassination is... well, actually...
It's meta, but it does damage.
No. But I mained it and I got 3k without it being meta, motherfucker. But for me, subtlety was also close to my heart, but I don't know what they're doing with subtlety right now. I think this is just a little bit too worse, but that's why I would go into assassination. And I would like to ask you, because you're playing Unholy at the moment.
Yeah.
Is it anything that Unholy does so well that you're kind of like, okay, I want to see something else, something different? Because Unholy is, I would say it's immobile, but not anymore with Rite of the Apocalypse. But you're so tanky and you want to go into Rogue, you're kind of going to be losing some of that stuff.
It's a different playstyle altogether. Like, if you would have asked me, I wouldn't change Unholy like for the entirety of the expansion. I love it so much. But I do want to change things up. Like, Unholy doesn't have that bombastic, push a million buttons at the same time, everything is sparkling all around things, that 8 p.m. like rollout. I love it for that on the Outlaws. Like, for Unholy, it's more methodical, it's more like lining up everything. It's a different play style, right? But I don't see any problems with Unholy. Like, I would say one of the first candidates would be Outlaw Rogue, and I have a couple more, but I'll let you go ahead and see what's up.
Okay, we can go through them and give people
do a ping pong of sorts.
Well, for the first time in ever, I've been maining a mage for a while, and it was one of the first times also when I'm kind of considering, like, am I going to stick with my mage for the season 2 as well? Because there are a couple of things that I really want to play, and one that crossed my mind so much, but there's another reason why. So there's actually a lot of things to talk about when changing a main. What I want to play is Enhancement Shaman.
I'm not surprised.
I've been wanting to play Enhancement ever since probably the end of Shadowlands and in Dragonflight, when they've started to put more love into it. Yeah, obviously, make it do more damage, but also with the rework in Dragonflight.
So you're basically coming into the bombastic push button department, right?
I mean,
it's all there.
But Shaman in general has received a lot of love in Dragonflight, and obviously it's one of the best classes in the game. But also in terms of the hero talents, is really good. You have a lot of builds that you can go into, and I will touch upon that as well. And Enhancement was something that I've had my eyes on for about 2 months, I believe. Whenever we started to put more Shaman footage on the channel, I had to level mine, and I was like, holy shit, what's going on over here?
Yeah. Mokti played it as well, give you a little bit of that, I want to do that as well.
It is a difficult spec, and it does have its curve as well as probably with a lot of other specs. But one thing that's pulling me back, and we'll circle back to me as well, is that this does not have a tank.
Well, what can I tell you? Don't cope your brain out, because
the thing is, man, because we have to be honest, right? We're obviously playing keys outside of our raiding schedule, and whenever we pick a main, we kind of main it for the raid more than anything. But we've been having a problem for 3 or 4 months because our group of friends, we're like 5 or 6, we don't have a tank or a healer, a dedicated one. So we've been it's
always the problem when all of us play just DPS.
Yeah, that's I definitely felt that as a mage this time around, because well, listen, you guys figured it out.
Well, at least on Shaman you can play resto.
Yeah, and it is a healer that I really enjoy for sure. So that's kind of like the saving grace for it.
I mean, 100%. Now, of course, Enhancement Shaman has been seeing like great days all across the board. Season 1 and War Within. I mean, we are part of a mythic raiding guild. We are trying to get some high-ish keys over there. So we are thinking about some performance component as well.
Oh yeah,
like tuning-wise. We don't know how the tuning will end up in 11.1, but I'm guessing shamans wouldn't be looked at that much.
It's a very good point, because people would have said the same thing about Fire Mage coming into the war with this. Like, I'm sure Fire Mage is gonna be just fine. And I do have to say that normally we mention this, damage is not that important, but it is a little bit important.
When you're part of a Mythic Raiding Guild and all of that.
I felt so bad for the first couple of months. Like, I'm not the best mage, but not being the best mage and being one of the worst DPSers in the game is not a really good combo. And it feels like, fuck, I don't know. It's like, this is all I got. This is tank damage. Prop Paladin out DPSs me. Like, what do you want me to do?
I mean, Prop Paladin is a beast in of its own due to the recent buffs and whatnot. But the truth is, like, when you think about Enhancement Shaman, it's been doing great all across the board. Outlaw, not that much. So this is, again, speculative talk here. Like 11.1, hopefully, at least for Outlaw, will address a lot of the things. But I'm also thinking that 11.1 will finally, hopefully, cope big here, address Druid.
Oh my god, I was thinking, like, because I know you've been playing it, I was like, why is he not talking about it?
I mean, yeah, Feral Druid is once again on my list, because I did main it in Shadowlands when it was shit. It didn't really do much, but I loved it. It was the first time playing Feral Druid, and it felt sort of like that secondhand TimuWish.com rogue in some capacity, but it had its charm, and I really miss it. I leveled it. I tried to like gear it up a little bit with you guys, and it feels the same for me as it was in Shadowlands. Like, I don't know, there's something about the cat. I know talents are problematic. I know its rotation is not the best. There's a lot of issues with Feral Druid, and I feel them as I play it along, but I just cannot escape that. I don't know, man, that fantasy, and also the fact that I can hit and move all over the place. That's something only Feral Druid like deliver for me. I'm always on the move, like a ferocious beast cat.
And you're fast while moving too.
Deal damage, but this is very on the cope side. So I am having like on my change mains in 11.1 Feral, but really with the cope of them addressing all of the Druid in 11.1. Not sure if it's not gonna happen, but it's on the list.
It's similar to you, but I won't go too heavy into this. I've been clucking it up.
Balanced Druid, of course. Why not?
I miss playing it, and I've played it because we needed some footage for some of our videos, and I did play, and I was like, oh man, I miss playing this spec, but it's still got its issues, and I don't think I can main balance Druid before they fix Druid, not by a long shot, but Druid would add the tank issue thing that we've had, because I could always off spec. But the actual biggest problem I have, which is worse than enhancement, and it's just in the same boat as Mage. It's another spec that is just all DPS in its class. Can you guess what it is?
I think Demon Hunter.
Demon Hunter is a class that only has DPS specs.
Warlock, that would be like the...
Close enough. You have one more guess. There's no other left. There's only one class left.
Oh, survival. Damn.
Yes.
Okay, well, survival is looking pretty good.
Yeah,
at this point.
It's looking really good. But there's a big caveat here, and it's something that I've discovered also playing Frost Death Knight throughout our challenge, which you'll see a video of in a couple of weeks. But there are a lot of builds. There's a lot of build diversity, and both your talents are really good, and that's something that really works for me. Obviously, the spec is nice. The spec has, like, you can play all of the capstones, you can play probably all of the talents, and there's not very many specs that can do this, and this is a big selling point. Like, if I go into an RPG, obviously MMOs are a little bit different, but since we're on the cusp of Path of Exile 2, we've just finished last Epoch.
Don't mention that.
Like, if I can engage with everything that the spec has to offer, that's a big plus in my book, and Survival delivers that now. Obviously, they'll probably change in 11.1, and as we know within the past history, we've had tierces that kind of narrow you down to a specific playstyle. So it depends on how free it is to express its entire class, and if it remains that, it's looking probably like one of the even more likely than enhancement. But once again, I'm thinking like, dude, I just won't be able to do anything else than DPS for another season. So
I was about to say, this is yet another choice on your plate that will kill our group. We will not have if you go survival and I'll go outlaw. That's it.
That's it. It's like good luck pugging into the undermine.
Pug.
But I mean, it would be cool. I mean, it would kind of match the fantasy. I'm gonna have bombs in undermine, and that's a bomby place.
You would expect something to be done with the bombs for survival.
For sure.
With undermine.
And I think Hunter is also on the receiving end of some good changes in the world within. Unfortunately, marksmanship and beastmastery are still suffering, but Survival has had really good reworks with its spec tree and its class tree as well, and the hero talents might need a little bit more love, but that's kind of like on the horizon, a little bit of a cope there. But you know, playing all of these specs and getting stuff ready, I'm like, dude, these are so good, man. I'm playing a mage, but I kind of want to go there.
Fair enough. I mean, there's, again, these are like early thoughts on what we're thinking about for 11.1. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of changes being announced and tuning, and I'm, again, coping for a lot of reworks for talents, for druids and stuff. But just to give you a perspective onto how we look at these things prior to the patch being launched and being on the PTR and all of that, because we plan ahead with all these things.
Yeah.
It kind of meshes up with the YouTube thing as well, but, you know, the gameplay too. Now, I'll give you one chance, one answer to guess which would be my third option as a main in 11. You only have one chance.
Oh, shit. One opportunity to seize everything I ever wanted. Okay.
Mom spaghetti.
Dude, because I feel like you're gonna throw me a curveball, because I want to say something that's obvious, something like Red Paladin,
Well,
but I know that wouldn't be the case.
I already put in some obvious shit over there, homie.
I know there are a bunch of specs that you have never played that you, Mokti and I have said, so I want to say Enhancement Shaman.
No, that's gonna be it. No, Augmentation Evoker.
Get the fuck out now.
It's on the list. It's on, get back here. Get back. It's on the list. I'm gonna go past. I try. Well, I didn't manage to, but I tried to get past the Slinky Lizard part.
Slinky Lizard.
All right. So you know.
Be honest. If it was not named a Dracthyr or a dragon and it was named Slinky Lizard, would you be more inclined to play it?
And I would have played Boomkin if it had a form where you would look like a cock or like a rooster. I mean, a rooster.
Of course.
That's what I mean, right?
That's the name.
Yeah, but listen, ever since they introduced augmentation, I love the concept. I know it fucked up the game. I know it fucked up the balance. I know about that. But I love the concept of a support class that also DPSs. I love the idea of augmenting or enhancing your allies for them to deal more damage. Like at some point, Paladins back in the day had something in that capacity, not even close to what augmentation is. But if you remember back in the day, Paladins were kind of like the buff bots in sometimes in WoW, right? So that was like part of the reasons why I loved it so much. It's like always having some tools for your party, right? Well, this time around, on top of like, let's say like buffing your tank with some armor all the time, and you also like deliver a lot of like tools for like enhancing the damage, off healing, all of that. I just love the concept of it, and I loved from the very get-go the fact that it's like with Black Dragon theme, although I would have wished a tank, but it's like with the Black Dragons, there's so much fantasy there for me. I just have to try it. And I'm leveling one currently. It's hard to get past the slinky winky bits, but I'm slowly, you know, closing my eyes. Listen, I'm putting all of my UI full of weak auras and add-ons to just do not see it.
Just cover the slinky lizard. Yeah. Well, in your defense, and maybe I'm not trying to sell it to you, but there are a couple of things that work really well for augmentation and Evoker in general. But if you actually don't think about your model and you really look at the spells, the animation, the concept, everything is dragon there. Yeah. And what's really cool that you're probably going to like a lot, depending on the tier set, I don't know if the tier set will skew the value of hero talents, but the scale commander is legit awesome. You are actually the commander of the battlefield. Then you see shit happening. You kind of navigate throughout the combat, kind of decide shit. That is a really cool concept to have into a spec, and it's been something that I've enjoyed when I've tested it in the beta, because I haven't leveled my Dracthyr yet either. But it's something that I know that you will like. Okay, and I think you should do it. I think you should do it because I did it with preservation in Dragonflight. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna have an open mind. I'm just gonna try it. And
I know your transition, homie.
See how it is. Okay, I had to deal with a little bit of cops. Like, listen, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. And to be honest, and I said this before because we bash on the aspects as well. Dracthyr and Evoker in particular is the modern version of their rigs. Like in terms of the rig, the animation, how fluid it is, how realistic and alive it looks, and there's no other class or race in the game that does it better than Dracthyr. Obviously, it's probably the biggest problem that we have is that this was our promised dragon. It feels like the ship has sailed and the train has left the station and we're not gonna get anything else. Because if you would have sold, oh, do you know this race of geckos that have mutated because of this radiation from Neltharion? Yeah, those are the Dracthyrs. So like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's not
but
that
don't
bad.
say it's a dragon. That's what I'm saying. Okay, do you have anything else on the list? Have you thought about anything else?
Yes, and this you might not like this as well, but it ties into why I would like the main survival, and that is Frost Death Knight.
Oh well, listen, I'm not hating on Frost Death Knight. I'm happy Frost Death Knight is doing so good, and it's having. Sure. I know it's not as brain dead as in the past. I know.
No. It's not. It's no unholy. It's no enhancement. That's fair. But I feel like it has way more going to it than Fury and definitely than Red. But what actually pulled me closer to considering Frost Death Knight as the main is when I think we played it last week on stream. And I actually went into, I think it was either Kaz and Biceps guides online and read off all of the builds. And there is a build in Rider of the Apocalypse so that you can play with a two-handed weapon. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's what I played.
And I've simmed all of them, and it's simming like 2 to 3% behind the regular builds. So I'm like, okay, this is not that bad. And it has variety because getting into Rider of the Apocalypse, that opens up 2 more builds. You already have about 4 builds with Deathbringer. I'm like, holy shit, this is what I would like to see in a DPS spec. Once again, this is caveating it because if it doesn't translate this way in 11.1 and you just have like one cookie cutter build, then that's kind of get a little bit boring and it's kind of, get the rug out of my feet. But it is something that I'm keeping my eyes open, particularly now because we're playing it with a purpose, and you'll find out soon. I'm getting more and more of that love juices because I always loved the concept of Frost, but the playstyle was never there, right? It was always unholy. I was always an unholy DK as well. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at the moment.
Frost Decay, the fact that it has two viable options to play. I mean, Breath is a viable option, and also Obliteration is also a viable option. With the differences being, quite minimal. Like it's in context. I've seen like logs with Frost Decays playing strictly Obliteration doing great. I've seen otherwise like Impacts playing Breath of Cinder. So I love that. The fact that is there, because for the longest time Frost Decay was like cramped in to like one playstyle because the other was just cookie not cutter, possible. Yeah, like, and we talked a lot about the Breath of Syndragosa option being always there but not really being a viable pick for the longest time. Yeah. Well, it's viable now, and again, it's like it's nice that they introduced a little bit more technicality to it. It's not like as brain dead as before, so that's a huge plus. I mean, go for it, man.
Deathbringer and Rider of the Apocalypse, because Rider of the Apocalypse for Frost is like a totally different level. Like I need to look for the Trollbane's chains and just obliterate them, because you can in Unholy you can just hit them anyway. It doesn't matter because it cleaves. But
you just look at the priority there, because like if you have the chains over there, it's like drop everything else. Hit motherfucker.
That's where I think the hero talents and the design of Frost Decay kind of doubled its deftness and its complexity in the War Within, and that's really cool to see. And you can see that the devs really love the spec in the way that they've designed the talent.
This is another thing. Like when you're thinking about like maining any sorts of like DK right now, I don't think they will be heavily addressed or changed in 11.1. This is another thing. Probably I think they kind of like, I didn't feel they were overpowered in any capacity. I think like their design was pretty much on point with a couple of hiccups here and there. Like as opposed to like something as like Druid, or you would expect something like Druid or Rogue to be addressed in 11.1.
Sure.
Much more than you would expect DK. That's what I'm saying. Because there was like pretty good all over the place, like both Unholy and Frost. I don't know about Blood. Blood is still like getting some cooked up buffs and all of that. So we don't know for sure. But if you're thinking about maining Blood, then some changes may occur. Unholy and Frost, I think they're gonna remain mostly the same. Probably some changes due to like tier set bonuses coming up and all of that, but probably just major changes, I don't see them happening.
We will actually be testing all of these, and we'll have a video telling
we'll have a full tier list with like how we do with like all of the candidates, because then we're gonna have much more information and be much more on point about everything regarding the specs to come in 11.1. So this is just early thoughts, but we're curious, what are your early thoughts in terms of mains? Are you thinking about changing your main in 11.1? And if you are thinking, let us know in the comments what are your options and why. We love these types of discussions. This is why we made this video, see how our thought process works. And once again, you can be sure there's going to be a proper full-on tier list regarding mains and alts coming soon once we get a little bit more information on what's happening, because right now we're like blind. We're blind.
Not unlike this tier list that you see on my face right now.
Click it there, because you're gonna see a lot of like proper rankings with meta and all of the things combined for you to know and be aware of. Please click that.
Bye-bye.
Bye.